Morning everyone, morning TK.
Hi Pete, how are you?
Very well, how are you?
Extremely well.
Excellent. We've just managed to quieten the chefs for a second. They've finished their swearing for the morning hopefully, so the outtake's going to be great at the end of the year.
We might have to bleep
I don't think we can actually post them. So look, I think we'll start off today with a little bit of Chardonnay. This is made by our good friends over in the west. This is Margaret River Chardonnay from Howard Park. This is their Miamup Chardonnay. Miamup, so if you've been to Margaret River, you'll see that a lot of the sub-regions and areas have up at the end of them. There's Miamup, Miamup, Kalmarup, and up in the local Indigenous dialect means place of. So Miamup is actually means place of huts. And the Howard Park team, the Birch family, have been there since 1988. So there's a good amount of history there, and I think it's one of those brands for me that's just really consistent. Yep. That's the one thing I think about when I think about Howard Park. And you haven't tasted this one before this morning, but what are your thoughts?
Mate, it's just delicious. It's a Chardonnay lover. I am, but it seems like it's just really well weighted, but there is still it's got some beautiful tropical sort of fruit in there as well. I picked passion fruit up straight away in it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I had this conversation with some guests last night. They were looking for a particular wine, and in terms of, they said, we don't want something too light, we don't want something too heavy, and I still use the term Goldilocks, and I think that this is kind of that kind of Chardonnay. It's not super light and lean, it's not super heavy and rich, it's right in the middle. It sort of ticks all the boxes. I just had someone I was talking to this morning actually, he said, what's it like? And I said, look, I think the great thing about this wine is it does exactly what it says it's going to do. Yeah. It's definitely Margaret River Chardonnay. There is that weight and that density of fruit that Margaret River gets every single time. But it's not over the top. Yeah. It's not that fat, oily, old school, buttery kind of thing. There's a little bit of that. Yeah. There's enough to keep the hardcore Chardonnay lovers
I was about to say, you keep the old boys appeased. Yeah. But I think that it's the balance in it's exceptional.
Yeah, and I think that acid line is just really good. And we talk about acid all the time in wine because it is critical because it just keeps the wine fresh, and from a food perspective, acid is just essential to cut through wines. One of the things when we do talk about acid, and I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but often we talk about acid being a negative thing, but it's not. Acid is in grapes. That's just what it is. There's an acid, particularly a hard acid called malic acid, that is in most fruit. If you think about biting into a green apple, that's basically just pure malic acid, and it's that crisp, crunchy kind of thing that we can retain a bit of that in the wine, and it just gives us the ability to cut through things from a food perspective. So what are we going to eat with this?
But my head goes straight away to seafood, but as soon as I put I had my first mouthful of this Chardonnay, I instantly thought about a seafood chowder, and maybe with sweet corn in it. You know, if you've ever been to San Francisco or the US, I mean, they're so famous for seafood chowder. But I do one with scallops. It's a white-based seafood chowder, but with corn kernels in it. Yep. It's delicious. So you get these little pops to the kernels. Yeah. A little bit of sweetness there, but it's uber rich, delicious. Yeah. And I think scallops are quite subtle. We'll put some prawns in there as well. It's a really well-rounded seafood chowder, but you can sort of put any sort of seafood in it. Yep. But I would probably stick to prawns and scallops for this particular wine. Yep. But seafood chowder's bang on, I reckon. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like an absolute treat for me. I think the thing with it, I mean, I've just necked that really quickly actually, which is kind of good and bad, and that's one of the reasons why we've got this on by the glass at the moment in the bistro, for that same reason that people come in and they want Chardonnay. They actually really do want Chardonnay. There is, that sometimes more recently there's been Chardonnay that's got so lean and so tight that it actually doesn't sort of feel or taste like Chardonnay anymore, and that's not what most Chardonnay lovers want. They want to be able to feel it. That weight is critical. All right, so seafood chowder, Margaret River Chardonnay. Bang on. Sounds like dinner tonight.
I'm definitely in. Enjoy.
Thanks, guys.